Hello, this is Susan for SLC Aquatics coming to you live with our special guest, Daniken Aquatics, Kenny himself, Kenny E. And we're going to be interviewing Kenny E today about his 2020 cross-country tour. I'm going to bring him to you at this time. Here is Kenny E.
What's going on, fish peeps?
We are also unlisted. I wanted to let you know we are live, but it's unlisted. And if Danny is available and wants this link, I'll be glad to share it with her. Matter of fact, I did share it with her in her messenger. But I want to welcome you to Susan for SLC Aquatics interview. Special guest today about your 2020, oh my God, cross-country tour to meet the Fishfam. Now, who in the world would have thought about something like that and actually did it?
It was a blast. I had an absolute blast, man. One of the best times of my life, and I'll never forget it.
Well, you know, we're going to give you opportunity to give us some of your experiences here in a few minutes. But number one question is, what in the world made you think of it? What events in your life happened that you don't mind sharing that actually spurred the dream of going across country and meeting Fishfam?
Well, what triggered it was I knew I had a feeling that I was going to be losing my job with the Airstream dealer. They were showing signs that we weren't really digging each other. So my head started plotting. I hadn't seen my family in almost 3 years. And with COVID, I certainly didn't want to fly. So I thought, well, if I'm going to drive across the country to see my folks anyway, then why not incorporate seeing all the fish can while I'm doing it? That's when I started plotting everything out. And anyway, I gave a call. My first call that I made was to Jason with Redfish Bluefish and said, here's what I'm thinking about doing. And I'd like for you to be my first stop, because my goal when I did it was I wanted to end the trip on the West Coast and start the trip. So people understand that there are some West Coast YouTubers out here that you gotta get to know, if you know what I mean. So that's why I started it there. And then as I kind of put it out there, what I was thinking of doing, people started, contacting me and saying, hey, you should stop here, you should stop here, you should stop here. Initially, when I started the trip, my main goal was to see Dan's Fish, LRB, and boys down there in Tennessee, all that group. And then I also got the thing that it turned out is I got to see Candy, I got to see Dan, I got to see Priscilla. I mean, it just all kind of went for it. But what initially made me decide to do it, I hadn't seen my family in almost two and a half years. And I knew I was going to not want to fly. So I was driving across anyway. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to make this an epic tour, and I'm going to go and see all the Fishfam and do a big loop across the United States and see what everybody's got going on. And it worked out perfectly. All the timing was perfect. I did run across some pretty hellacious storms, and, I had to go through fires and hurricanes and tornadoes to get to where I had to get. But, hey, it all worked out. The Lord was looking over me, so.
Well, you sound like you actually were an explorer going through storms and fires and hurricanes and tornadoes. Some people would say, oh man, he's making this up. But no, we could actually track the time that you left. Were you even delayed leaving because of a storm?
No, here everything was cool out this way. Where I started initially hitting, the real bad stuff is after I left Priscilla's in Colorado. I had to be emergency stopped in Nebraska because of tornadoes, so I had to stay and pull over for the night at a hotel there. And then I got another 400, 500 miles or so. My intentions was to go see Cody's son in Iowa after Priscilla. Well, I get to going down the freeway, and this time I hit Davenport, Iowa, and I'm watching full-size semi-trucks being flipped like they're nothing. So I'm like, what the heck? So I'll admit, I freaked out a little bit. I probably was at one point 130, 140 miles per hour, heading north, just trying to get out of that area. And what I did was diverted myself and went to my mom's house for that night to get away from the storms. So it
That's
was
just,
something.
I'm telling you. And if you don't mind me bringing up your Marine background, how many years did you serve, sir?
I served almost 6 years. I did get put out medically. I
Okay.
was recalling in Hawaii, and the guy above me didn't have this clasp as well as he should. Laying it on me, we went 50 feet on solid lava rock, blew my knees and hips to crap, and that was the end of my Marine career. But I was told I probably wouldn't walk, and I proved them wrong. I rehabbed to the point where you see me, you met me, I can walk,
Yes.
and I'm probably not getting anywhere real quick, but at least I was able to rehab to the point where I can be functionable still in society. So there's a lot of my Marine brothers and sisters and other veterans out there that, number one, some of them didn't come back. Number two, there's some that are so crippled to the point they can't even get out of bed in the morning. So I find myself very fortunate compared to what it could have been for folks.
Yeah. And again, thank you for your service on this Veterans Day. I didn't really want to date it, but it's going to be a link in the Fishfam community newsletter that I release here, hopefully before Thanksgiving. And I just want to thank you for your service. I'm also military. I served 2 years in the Army, and
Thank you for your service.
thank you. It was peacetime, thank God. And my husband served, I think, almost 8 years in the United States Air Force. So hats off and appreciation for all veterans that have served and that are even still serving. Your trip is amazing to me because many of us have dreams, many of us have hopes, but you put your feet to work and you rolled across the country. So you mentioned a few places: Colorado, Iowa, and do you have a list? I know you've been doing your video releases, and so there is a playlist, right? So I want to
Yeah,
share that playlist.
I had a playlist for the entire journey, both live streams and the videos I did after I got home. But I can give you a little breakdown. The trip started in Willoughby Island, Washington. I got to go see the great friend of all of ours, Redfish Bluefish. Absolutely amazing time with him. One thing I will say right up front is I wish I could have had 3 to 4 days with each person. Would have made the trip better, but that would have taken probably 90 days to get everything done. So, I mean, the time with you was very, very short. But I started with Jason, and then I woke up at like 7:30 in the morning, drove straight through 15 hours straight to Montana, and I got into town about, I want to say it was like 11 or 12 in the morning, and I gave Candy a call. Her and her whole family came and met me for breakfast, and then I was allowed to go over and check out her fish room. I did get a picture with me and Candy, but I was very much told she doesn't want her pictures out there. So I respected her wishes, and I've got it for my own little personal album I made. But then from Candy's, I end up heading over to see Dan's Fish over in Wyoming. And his place was absolutely phenomenal. He was a very gracious host. I know he's a very busy man. I spent what I was supposed to do was just shoot, and I was going to start heading towards Colorado, but just the sheer enormous amount of tanks he had, I ended up shooting some of it in the morning, took a break, kind of had some one-on-one time with Dan, started shooting again, then we broke again, and I went and got dinner with him, then came back and finished it. So by the time I finished it, it was like 9:30 at 10 o'clock at night. So I ended up getting a room in Wyoming for the night. Didn't work out the way I wanted, but hey, it was perfect. I mean, I got to spend more time with them that way. And from there, my intention was to meet Pam. We had this pre-designated park we were going to meet in, and I drove in one side, she drove in the other. I drove around the park, did not see her. So then I started freaking out. I'm like, okay, she's got an older truck. Something's happened to Pam. So I backtraced all the way back to her home the way she would have taken, did not find her, got to her house, no Pam still. So then I started driving back to the other park. By that time, she had gotten fed up and had left. So we ended up missing each other. But then the thing that really made me laugh so hard is Pam had this picture where she was sitting in the park. She takes this picture, and lo and behold, in the far right-hand corner of the picture is my truck. So we were that close to each other, but missed it. So from Pam's, I went straight through to Boulder, Colorado. I went to Exotic Aquatics, which was the fish store Priscilla MK Art runs. I got to sit out, hang out with Priscilla. We had dinner together, and then I shot her store. And then she was actually gracious enough that night, because it was a Sunday. It was my first Sunday away from home. I attempted to do the live stream with Danny, and Priscilla was on with us, but we were having echoing issues and no being able to hear, so we were only on for a short time. Yeah. And then I spent a little bit more time with her, and then I started heading towards Iowa. And that's, like I said, when I had to make the stop in Nebraska and all that because of the tornadoes. And instead of going to Cody's son, I diverted up, spent one night with my mom. So she got an extra night with me. Hung out with my mom for one night, had some great Sam's pizza because I've been waiting years to have that Sam's pizza again. So I was all over it. So I woke up very early the next morning and headed up to Peplin Creek Aquatics up in Wausau, Wisconsin. He has this beautiful 9.5-acre farm. He has these beautiful outbuildings. He's got a 5,000 square foot wood shop. He's a wood shop man by nature. He builds cabinets and all this super cool wood stuff. I've shot his actual fish room. I shot on a live stream, but then I did do one video. I'm still trying to figure out how to edit it. Unfortunately, not known to me, when I shot this 30-minute second video, my sound wasn't coming through. So the entire video, there's no sound. So now I'm trying to decide if I want to go and narrate it, or just put a cool music beat behind it and let people see and kind of tell them what I experienced and what I looked at, and let them watch it that way. I am going to drop that video. I'd already called Peplin and let them know.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Audio dropped out.
Sorry about that. Somebody tried to call me here.
Okay.
But I let him know that I'd be dropping that video. So anyway, I spent the night with him. He made me these steaks. I kid you not, Susan, were probably this long and that thick, along with some nice potatoes and whatnot. I mean, we had an awesome time. Had a couple of beers and, kick back and relax. But the thing that I remember most about his farm, it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. We went out to have a cigarette. Well, where he's at, there's no city lights, nothing. It was a beautiful, clear night. You could see every constellation in the sky. You could see Venus. You could see Mars. You could see the whole constellation. It was just so unbelievably gorgeous. I mean, one of the highlights of the trip. I remember that so vividly. It was just so awesome. So anyway, I got done with Peplin. We went to bed, and then I got up again the very next morning, and I went straight up to see Dad. Originally, we met up at a lake further north in Wisconsin, and we're there for 2 minutes, and we go to have our breakfast in the bar we usually eat at there, and one of the people told us that somebody in the campground there had COVID. So I told my dad, I'm like, I'm not down for this. I got a lot of journey left. We're out of here, So we went back to the cabin area, which is by the Wisconsin Dells in Wisconsin there. And we ended up renting a campsite at the place that had fond memories for me. My grandparents would take me up every summer to this particular place. And the dock that I fished on as a kid was still there. So I spent the next week just reminiscing, time with my grandparents, fishing off of this dock. We caught unbelievable amounts of stripers and catfish, all kinds of cool fish. And then spent the week with my dad there. Had a couple of live streams from the place that we eat in the morning, because in Wisconsin there was no Wi-Fi or any of that. I mean, it was pretty desolate. So I would have to resort to, checking in with everybody from the restaurant we ate at in the morning. So I would do that a couple of times. But stayed there with my dad. Then I went straight from my dad down into Rockford, spent another week with mom, got to see all my family and stuff there. I did shoot while in the town of Rockford, called Michelle's Pet Center. The significance of that pet center, it used to be Bill's Aqualand. And when we lived there 20 something years ago, my wife Danny worked for them. So it was
Oh,
kind of a cool reminiscence there,
yeah.
kind of full circle that started our journey together. I lo and behold go back and meet the people and shoot their establishment, which was really, really cool.
Nice.
So from Rockford, after leaving Mama, which I hated leaving Mama, but I went there and was able to finally divert back to Davenport, Iowa to see Cody's son, which I'm so glad I did. That kid is so, so amazing. Nice kid, had a beautiful tanks, beautiful setups. He had a lot of rare, kind of hard to get stuff that I was really intrigued by. He had these cool little, what did he call them? They were another type of mud skipper, but they were only about this big. But the thing that was amazing to me is that he had all these different species of, hard water, soft water. He had all this different stuff. And he had pygmy sunfish, which that's like one of my fish I have to have. And then he had this awesome, like, pit bull dog that was fun to play. And he had this goofy, I've seen it with kids. It's like those tunnel things that kids play in, Well, the dog plays in it, back and forth, back and forth. So I was getting a kick out. I did get video of that, but I didn't drop it on his video. And I think I should go back and do a video on that for you guys too. But yeah, I had an amazing time with Cody's son. And from Cody's son, I went to LRB Aquatics, which Lucas and I have become great friends. Our relationship started with him coming out. I had asked him, because by then I had already known Lucas. I was starting to get to know him a little better. I had met him at the AGA up in Seattle. Well, that's how we exchanged information to one another. And then I had reached out to him because we needed a speaker for our Greater Portland Aquarium Society meeting, and he graciously accepted. So we flew him out here. Well, the whole time he was here, he spent it with me. So we got to build that bond even more. And anyway, I think long story short, I gave him a ring and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. He goes, that will be amazing. Nobody's ever done it, Kenny. Do it right. That is going to be amazing. So anyway, he graciously brought me into his home. I was there. Actually, that was one of my longest days. I stayed with Lucas. I think I got there on Monday and I left Wednesday. But the first day I was just in total geek mode. I went around looking at everything. I was just overwhelmed. Couldn't even shoot. I mean, I was just like, whoa. But the second day we got up early. We took the time to water change one of the tanks he really wanted me to shoot. And that was the first video I shot while I was there of that beautiful rainbow tank he has. We cleaned it the night before and gave it a fresh water change. So they were all frisky and really, really getting into it. You know what I mean? So all these beautiful colors. We shot that. Then he took me out back. We shot the ponds. He showed me some tricks with my camera, showed me how to do certain shots, which I was grateful for that. That was awesome. And then he showed me at that time the pond hadn't even, it was just rough stages. So he showed me his grand view of what he's going to do, which now I would love to be there because it's getting close to being done. But his vision of what he had planned and what, I was there to see everything. I mean, he really, I got to give the guy credit because when I showed up there, he had a ton of stuff going on. His house foundation was starting to sink. I think it's because of the weight of the fish tank. So he had a company there putting jacks under his house to stabilize it so he didn't lose the foundation and all that. He had that going on along with these people are supposed to be coming to get the pond. And then the other upkeep, then it was shipping day. And he had like 25 more orders than he usually had. He had like 87 or 88 orders he had to fill. So I got to watch that. And then I got to see him at night when he's feeding. Then one of the visions I remember, Lucas, some of his rooms has tanks stacked 4 high. So he had the top tank is so high, he literally would have to put the food in his hand and do this jump every time. He would jump to put his food in on each of these tanks. I'm like laughing. I did get a little bit of that in one of my videos. I mean, it absolutely cracked me up. But Lucas was amazing guest, same with Sarah, or guest host, I should say. Sarah, and then I had a lot of good time with Wesley. I kind of was playing video game stuff with him while mom and dad were getting the shipments ready. So yeah, I just had an amazing time with those guys, and they are awesome. From Lucas, I drove straight through down to Gasco, Kentucky, and got to meet Mr. Griffin. I went in and was able to check out all Griff's operation. He has these amazing roosters and chickens. These chickens that he's been raising, they're really, really cool. I got some good shots of that. Then I got to go down in his fish room. Now his fish room is total height, I would guess, is about 5'9" to 10. So I'm happy to do the old, ducky to go through it and all. But we got her done. We're able to shoot the videos and had a good time. Griffin was an awesome, awesome dude to meet. And I went straight from Griffin's over to Catfish Terry. Got to spend time with Catfish Terry, which I absolutely love that. I mean, me and Catfish have grown to be pretty darn good friends, and to be able to spend a couple hours with them just BSing was awesome. Then I went from Catfish Terry, and that's when I drove straight through and met up with the famous Chattanooga Ed at his place. James Chattanooga and I went out and had a nice dinner the first night I was there. And then later that evening, we went ahead and had a live stream, which I'm thinking back on it now was probably not good thinking on our part. We started the live stream like 11:30 at night, knowing that we had to be up and at 'em at 3 a.m. to head up to Florida. But we did it. I think we went to bed that night at 2 o'clock, and Ed was 45 minutes later saying it's time to go. I'm like, oh, man, I didn't even get to sleep. So anyway, we hopped in my truck and drove straight through to Venice, Florida to go see Father Fish. It was 10.5 hours each way, but we did it. We went straight down, went straight to Father Fish's shop before getting our hotel, hung out with him for a little bit. He put us right to work the minute we got there. He had us planting plants and all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, it was funny. His shop, I cannot tell you, Susan, is amazing. He practices what he preaches, deep sand bed, and every tank, I don't care if it had cichlids, African cichlids, silver dollars, it didn't matter. Every tank had these beautiful plants in it, and he's getting away with it and hasn't had any issue. I couldn't believe. He opened my eyes because I've always been a believer with my South Americans and my African cichlids. Plants are not an option. Well, he opened my eyes to it to now where I'm starting to put val and all kinds of stuff in my tanks because he proved to me it can be done.
Yeah.
So we spent the morning there. Then we went back to the hotel to get cleaned up, get a quick nap. Came back, but it was closer to time Father Fish would have some time. Then he took us all collecting for it was this huge pond, and we were catching what the heck was it? Golden top minnows, Gabusia, some sort of river darters, keely fishes. I mean, we just got all these cool fish the first day. James from Fish Room Fever cracked me up. I mean, you would have thought the man was part fish. He's up to his neck like this trying to collect. And he just fills his bucket with all these exotic, cool stuff. And we literally had to drag him out of the water because I think he would have spent the night out there if he could have got away with it. And yeah, then Ed got it. That day I was a little under the weather. I was the trip that I had done up to that point, I finally was wore out. So I kind of just spectated and did a live video with James and them all and Father Fish and everybody. And I had a good time at that. So that's what I did. And then from there, we went back and spent a little bit more time with Father Fish. And then I think that night was James and Ed's live stream. So we live streamed from the hotel room from James and Ed's live stream. And then the next morning we got up, we went and met Father Fish again. We originally were going to go collect seahorses, but there was a lot of rain and wind that day. Oh. So we diverted and he took us to this hot spring area. And that's where we collected a bunch of these itty bitty, gorgeous green high fin sailfin mollies. Now, what was amazing to me was these fish were caught in water that was close to 100 degrees, super, super high acidity. I mean, it was just amazing to me that anything could even live in there.
Yeah.
And we were able to catch quite a few of them. We brought those back with us from Florida. And to this day, Ed's got some that are now reproducing. So I told him once he gets a few more, I want some of those. But they
Yeah.
are the cutest little molly, though. They can't be any bigger than that. These beautiful greens and golds going through them. Awesome, awesome fish. So anyway, we went from there. Then we went and said our goodbyes to Father Fish. Then we hopped in the truck and drove 10 and a half straight hours back. We got back into Ed's place, I want to say 1 a.m. in the morning. We all kind of crashed for the night, got up early the next morning, and that's when we came to meet you and Bob Kaler and had beautiful breakfast. Went and checked out all those fish stores and all that good stuff. And then from there, I departed great state of Tennessee and headed for my aunt's place down in Mena, Arkansas. Spent uh, 3 nights down in Arkansas. Then I went from Arkansas and drove straight through down to Jess down at Maine's Tails, Spurs, and Fins in Louisiana. First night I was with Jess, she kind of showed me around and showed me her ponds and stuff outside. I did a live feed showing all that stuff.
Yeah, I
And then
saw
she
your
came up
horseback
with this
riding.
idea. She wanted to take me horseback riding. So
Yeah.
anyway, we hopped on. She got the horses ready. We went out. We had to check on the cattle anyway. Spent about 2.5 hours out there on horses, rattling cattle. Had an absolutely amazing time. I was able to live shoot from out there. I didn't think I would be able to. I had sketchy service in Louisiana as well. But anyway, she took that. We came back from that. Her husband and child and I all went out to a very nice dinner. And then I came back that evening and we shot Jess's fish room. I was able to do it. Now, a lot of things people don't see behind the scenes is a lot of times due to time restraints, we were shooting these fish rooms sometimes at 12:30, 1 a.m. in the morning. Like Ed's, I can guarantee you that one, we had woken up at the crack of dawn after being up all night. And we both were out of it, but we got her done. But then from Jess's, I went on over to a cool place. I drove straight through to Phoenix, Arizona, in a place called the Cyclic Shack. This is like one of my super, super hot places that I've always wanted to see. And I stopped in there. The guys were very gracious. The owner, unfortunately, was his once a year vacation, which I wasn't aware of. So I didn't get to meet the owner, but I met his right hand man and all those guys. And they took me around, showed me all their stuff. I was able to live feed from the store, which was absolutely amazing. And then anyway, I only did that in like 3 hours there, and then I jetted out, headed for Bakersfield, California. Went through the fires and all that to get to Big J because I wanted to end on the West Coast. I went to Big J, spent a wonderful evening with him. We shot his fish rooms. I got kind of antsy the next morning because now I was close to my Danny, so I got up early, real early. I think I was on the road by 6 a.m. so I could make it home to my wife that night was my goal, and I made it. And that was pretty much everywhere I had went and seen him. It ended up being a total of almost 9,700 miles and 35 or 36-day journey. Like I said, it was absolutely epic. Now, I did have a few regrets along the way. I wish now that Haley from Oddball Aquatics, that's who I got to meet while I was at Lucas's too. I forgot to mention her. Had offered, she goes, hey, dude, we're only 7 hours away from Ohio Fish Rescue. I'd be more than glad to go with you. Let's go on over there. And she wanted to leave like in the middle of the night. I'm like, well, I've already got these commitments with Father Fish. She's expected it, and I wanted to stay on schedule for that. But now knowing that I was going to be home almost 7 days early from when I needed to be, I wish I would have done that extra trip with Haley now. I would have loved to have met Big Rich and all the Ohio Fish Rescue. That would have been really, really cool. And then my second regret is not being able to, I should have diverted and went to Los Angeles. I could have seen Aqua Balls and Anthony Fishy Friends, then went up to Big J. That's the only thing I wish is, but at the time, the fires in their area were pretty bad. And I didn't want to get stuck somewhere. So that's the reason I did what I decided to do at the end. But that was the trip in a nutshell. I mean, it was a lot of other stuff I'm sure I forgot because I'm trying to put it all in a 5-minute segment for you guys. But yeah, I did a very good job of documenting my journey. If you go into Fishfam tours or Fishfam live streams, I live stream a lot of them showing fish rooms and just general talk. And then I also did videos on almost everybody. There's a couple I didn't do videos, but again, if you want to see everybody, I did document everything. I feel pretty well. So
uh, am amazed at everything that you went through. And, I thank God for you and appreciate you documenting that with me here on this video. But I want everyone to know that's watching this video that Kenny has a playlist of these live streams and those tours that he's edited and uploaded, and some that you had to do on the way because you didn't have Wi-Fi for live stream, that you were able to upload later. So go visit his playlist, and I think you call it the Fishfam Tours playlist.
yep.
Okay. And you only had those two regrets. And I understand that sometimes you had a schedule, right? But then actually making the trip, going through obstacles and delays, and sometimes one trip, one stop turned into 2 or 3 days. That changed your schedule a little bit. So you did an ultimum, to me, just an awesome job of keeping your schedule, and then even coming back from Venice, Florida, to go back to Cleveland, Tennessee. And then my husband Rod and I drove up to Cleveland, and we had dinner or brunch together, and went on I know Rod and I went on one fish room tour, fish store tour with you guys, and you all went on a couple more without us.
And you guys, if I remember right, had a hurricane heading your way, didn't you? Or,
We did. We drove back down home, and I believe we were starting to get some of the rain from that hurricane as we were traveling home, but we didn't get the high winds real bad before we got home safely. And then you were diverted to Arkansas to your aunt's house. And let's see.
that was amazing too to get there, Susan. Believe it or not, I didn't get to my aunt's till real late at night, and they had tornadoes and stuff going through Arkansas when I was going through there. Anyway, to make a long story short, one section of the road I was on, I started getting these flashes on my phone. It said, "Intimate danger, flash flooding, seek shelter." So anyway, make a long story short, I missed this flood. It's like something happened where one of the waterways overfilled and sent this water just cruising like a river. I missed it by like 10 minutes. I made it through before it actually hit. My aunt I got there, she gave me the biggest hug. She goes, "I can't believe you're alive." You should have just took the hotel. What were you thinking? Just went off on me. But, she was worried. So,
Of course, yeah, we will go off on you because we're worried. That's called love.
yeah.
But I told you at the beginning of before we went to recording this, the big question: would you do it again?
Absolutely. Only this time, I'm going to do it right. I'm thinking I'm going to get like an RV, and I'm going to actually spend more time with each person this time, where I can really get to filming more than that's why I wish I could have filmed more than what I did. But my goal is the next time is I think I'm going to maybe fly, or if I do drive, I'm bringing Danielle with this time, and I want to make sure to hit the Ohio Fish Rescue. And then my goal is to go way up on the East Coast, start with maybe Joey up at Hattrick, and work my way down the whole Eastern Coast,
Where is
all the
Joey
way back
located?
down the floor. And then maybe I'd have time to swing it back up your all's way, see you all again. And then, but yeah, we've got a lot of, the other thing is there was a lot of people I missed in Texas, like Big Hank Tank and Jadrin. And there's a lot of folks that are in Texas. I wish I would have, I went through the state. I had to go quick through there too because of tornadoes. It was bad. Anyway, you can never fit, even if I did another trip. It won't be as long, but it takes time to do them. It's the only unfortunate. I don't care how good you are. It's X amount of miles you have to do. So
When did you leave?
I left on August 7th, I believe it was. And I didn't get home till the 9th of September.
9/9/20. All right. So that was 36 days, you said?
Yep, 30-something days.
Well, I'm amazed with it. I'm honored to have met you. I would have loved to have met Danny too. So maybe if there's another, are you planning another trip?
We are. It's probably gonna be two or couple years down the road, but the next time we do it, we're gonna do it together. That's my goal. Whether it be we fly somewhere and rent a car and then do the rest, I don't know how the logistics are gonna work yet.
Yeah.
But because with her working, and I'm sure I'll be working again by then, we won't have. I mean, I was blessed at the exact time that this all took place. The Airstream let me go, yes, but I was very wise while working for them. I was making real good money, and I was socking away a bunch of money while I was there. So that is what enabled me. I wasn't going to put me in a financial bind to do it.
Yeah.
So I hadn't had a vacation in 3 years, whatever it was. So it all, like I said, the timing and everything, the way it happened just worked out perfect. So, but I do intend on doing it again. I don't know if it'll be a 35-day adventure this next time, but I really want to go back and hit that East Coast and do that whole East Coast, because there's a lot of cool fish tubers and fish people along there that I would love to meet. King and Queen cichlids.
What, from Connecticut down to Venice?
No, I'll go all the way up to Maine and down, because Joey lives in Maine. Okay, and then in Virginia, you've got Amber and you got Joseph, and then there's a ton of people in between there too. You know, you've got King and Queens, you've got Q. I mean, there's so many people on the East Coast.
Yes.
That I could hit. There's a bunch of them in North Carolina, South Carolina. I mean, I'm already mapping out in my head who I want to see on that one. So,
well, I was wondering if you would take a picture of a map of the continental United States and put a marker of where you know that there are Fishfam people, even though you haven't met them yet. You probably know more than I do about people's location. I want everyone to know that Kenny E at Daniken Aquatics has an awesome playlist of meeting a lot of the Fishfam community. And this is a Fishfam community newsletter. And we hope and pray that you will go over there and visit his channel and check out those playlists. And if you don't watch the playlist, shame on you, because this is Fishfam Mom telling you to go check it out. And I love you.
You don't want to make Mom mad.
Thank you, Kenny. And don't go anywhere.
Thank you, Susan. And thank you for all that you do for the family. Much love for you, woman.
Thank you. And we love you. And don't go